Alright guys, so I have here a 2009 Buell 1125 CR, and it actually is my bike. So for once, I'm fixing something myself, or something that belongs to me. So the issue I'm having right now is that I suspect it's a charging issue, but it's not confirmed yet. The bike is having trouble starting, and it's showing signs of electrical weakness. Well, it's showing two things. One issue I do know is a vacuum issue, but in addition to that, the starting motor seems to be spinning weaker and weaker as if it's receiving insufficient voltage, and the voltage reading at my cluster is rather erratic. These bikes are known for charging issues. I do heavily suspect the stator currently, but I'm going to do some tests, starting with a voltage drop test on the battery, which is pretty simple. I have clipped into the ground here on one side, that way I'll have a hand free to operate the starter, and I'll simply probe the positive terminal of the battery, and I'll monitor the voltage as I hit the start button, and it shouldn't drop too drastically. I did already see like a half-volt drop when I turned on the key, which seems pretty excessive, so I do suspect I have a weak battery. It could be a combination of a weak battery and a weak stator causing my problems. The stator did pass the continuity test that you can give it when the motor's not running. I don't find this continuity test to be all conclusive. I have had stators in the past pass the continuity test, but then when I opened it up, I found that the stator was completely actually electrically severed, and that just the wires being fused together made it appear to be a good stator from up here. So I don't really trust that test. It's just if it fails the test, then yes, the stator's bad, but if it passes the test, further investigation is required. So I did go ahead and get all my connections ready and everything just to save time in the video. First, I already did a static measurement of the battery. I'm getting 12.65 volts, which is pretty good for a resting battery. The bike only ran for a minute or two while I brought it around front, so it really shouldn't have had a chance to charge much on the stator. So I'm going to go ahead and measure. See, it already dropped pretty significantly just from turning the key on, which is a pretty bad sign for the battery. Get her neutral here. Another thing, I really don't like clipping in to the hot of the battery, because if this connection swings around or something, it could create a short by hitting the frame. So I'm pretty distrustful of clipped in, but since I need both hands, I think I can carefully arrange this in a safe fashion. Worst case scenario, my alligator clip burns up. It's not really a huge risk, but still one I like to be aware of. So we're clipped in, we're at 12.33. The reason I want to free up both hands is because I don't trust the bike is in neutral. I never trust neutral lights. So let's see how she starts. She started pretty strong, but that was a significant drop in voltage. Went all the way down to 9 volts, which is a bad sign. And her idling voltage is about 2 volts lower than I like to see. So now we're going to take voltage directly at the stator connection. So we're getting 6 volts out of each leg of the stator. So the stator is actually producing adequate electricity. That'd be a total of 18 volts. So it's pretty straightforward. The stator is making a total of 18 volts at idle, which is more than enough to power the bike, more than enough for the battery. But the battery did drop all the way down to 9 volts on startup, which is pretty bad. So we're probably just looking at a bad battery here. It could even possibly be some connection issues, but I think to play it safe, I'm going to go ahead and get me another AGM battery, hook it up. There is also one more issue with this bike. There's this Harley Fix These stators are known to produce excessive heat in this bike when it's left stock, and Harley installed a fix that basically is supposed to deactivate a leg of the stator, unload it, and it can drop the bike quite low on voltage. But I think I'm really just looking at a weaker battery here with all the drop I saw. So I'll slap a new one in there. We're definitely not looking at a weak stator because it's producing 18 volts. That's a lot. Alrighty, GoPro, stop recording.